Welcome back to TechNet Radio. In today's Community Corner, we welcome Jim Henry, 2011 Association President for AITP. Listen in as our host, John Weston, chats with Jim about future plans for the organization, how he got started in the user group community, as well as a technical jobs forecast from Anchorage, Alaska. John, the mic is yours.
I'm John Weston, and today with me I've got Jim Henry with AITP. Welcome, Jim.
Good morning.
And you could call this radio, I guess, but both Jim and I have our webcams on today, so maybe we should change this to the TechNet TV on the internet. So anyhow, would like to welcome Jim to the show today and appreciate him joining us all the way from Anchorage, Alaska. I'm down in Texas today, and wonderful technology allows us to be able to do this interview without having to be in the same location. We're using Link 2010 to be able to record today's show. So to start off, Jim, tell us a little bit about your background and what do you do for a day job?
Sure. I've been in for about 25 years now. Held about every position out there from second shift operations, where the fun job was changing the paper and changing tapes in the middle of the night, to systems management, dabbled in technical sales for a while. And currently I work for a small local IT company with the goofiest name in the world called Tex, R-U-S-T-E-X, nothing to do with Texas, by the way, John. And my role is project manager as well as operations manager for the company.
That's great. And I know that you're very active in a national organization called AITP. Tell us about AITP. What is it all about?
Sure. AITP is the Association of Information Technology Professionals, and we're actually celebrating our 60th year as an organization. Started off in 1951 as the Association for Mechanical Accountants, and in 1962, I believe, don't hold me to that one, but I'm pretty sure 62, the name was changed to the Data Processing Management Association, and then in the 90s revised again to the Association of Information Technology Professionals. We've got about 6,000 members nationally, ranging from, again, all aspects of technology. We're not a specialist group. We're more of a generalist, so we're not focused on just project management or just a specific brand or vendor-specific type of organization.
That's great. So I understand you're currently the 2011 National President of AITP. Tell us about becoming elected president.
So I got my start in AITP management locally as a board member, and then was the local chapter president a couple times, and then got involved with the region, Anchorage is part of Region 2, Pacific Northwest, and was region president a couple years. Got on the board, I believe, in 2002, 2003 timeframe. Was off the board for a couple years, and then I was elected secretary, and then from there elected executive vice president, which automatically makes you in line for succession, if you would, to president, and then 1 year as immediate past president as well. So kind of a long process, but certainly enjoyable.
That's great. So you're president for 2011, but it's really kind of a 3-year commitment. So you have a rolling year. You're executive vice president for 1 year, then you're the president, and then you're immediate past president, which I know has some particular roles and responsibilities within the organization. So you kind of have a rolling transition there of the leadership. That's really a neat architecture that they've put together.
It helps with some continuity, that's for sure. You know, otherwise you just get into your 1 year term and you're out, and you wonder, what did I accomplish during that year? So it certainly does work well for our organization.
That's great. So tell me a little bit about the benefits of AITP. Why should someone join a professional association, particularly in this technology field?
Well, I can start by talking about my experiences with AITP and how I got involved. In 1989, I was second shift operator for one of the local newspapers in town here when an incident took place down in Valdez, where the Exxon Valdez struck a rock and lost huge amounts of oil. A lot of people in Anchorage took well-paying jobs down in Valdez and created a vacuum here in Anchorage. I went from, again, second shift operator to systems manager for about 100-user network in the architecture engineering firm, and I quite honestly was not prepared for it. I didn't have the experience. I didn't know where to find the information I needed to be successful in my job. And one of my friends suggested that I attend, back then, a DPMA meeting. And I used that as an opportunity to start networking with people in a safe environment where I could be honest and acknowledge I wasn't prepared for this job, and have people assist me and give me tips and information in a non-threatening manner. And kind of how I went from there. So that's how I first got involved. Later on, shifting jobs a couple of times in my career, might have been between jobs, and I used the AITP network to get my name out there. And I can say probably most jobs I've had in the last 20 years are directly related to my involvement with DPMA and AITP.
That's great. So it's a great networking community. It's a great way for you to invest in yourself and your career in both technical skills and personal development, it sounds like. So, what I would expect is from a professional association. So it really sounds like a great organization to be a part of. So why do you invest so much of your time now? I mean, obviously you've been a member for so many years, but you're well beyond a member, taking all this time to help run the entire organization. Why do you do it?
Well, I think it's giving back to the industry that's been good to me. I really have loved falling into this industry. It was not my training. I was actually a psychology major in school, which fits quite well into technology, I believe. But it is giving back to the community, to the association that's helped me out, and I find it personally rewarding. It's also a very good way to build on leadership skills. Again, that have an impact on my day job, and as well as the association that I've grown to love over the last 18, 20 years.
That's great. So what's going to be your legacy from your time as leadership in the AITP organization?
2011 is a big year for us. We've had some issues with membership numbers. We're working hard to bolster those numbers up. We've invested into a couple of very large projects, one of them being our website revamping. These are big things for a volunteer organization. They're big tasks for a company that has employees, let alone one that's based on volunteer labor. These are going to be important things for growing the organization, getting the word out there. We also have our 2011 Member Summit coming up here in just a few weeks in Orlando, Florida. We're pretty excited about that. We kind of had a revelation, I guess. Last year we had our Member Summit in Chicago, Illinois in January, and for some reason people thought that the weather there was less than optimal, and so we're hoping that Orlando, Florida in the end of March will be a little more suitable for us.
Yeah, I was there at the one in Chicago, and it was my 4th trip to Chicago that January, but the weather didn't slow us down too much. So
just a bit on the breezy side. Yeah, coming from Anchorage, it was still balmy for me. So,
well, if I want to join AITP, how do I go find my local chapter?
Well, the easiest thing to do is to go to our website, AITP.org, and there's a join section right there on the main page, and it'll help walk you through the process. I will let you know that we are in the process of revamping our website, and the current website is our older one, a little bit on the clunky side, but it is functional. We have chapters in a lot of major cities, and take a look and see if there is a chapter in your local area. If not, possibly you might want to let headquarters know that you're interested in AITP. Maybe we can work with you to actually get a chapter going in that area.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. So if there isn't a chapter near where I live, I can help start one, right?
Absolutely, and the region and the association both would be glad to be involved with that. There's some toolkits available for people to get involved with that.
Yeah, and to me they're in surprising areas. I mean, obviously in Dallas, the Dallas chapter that I'm a member of here locally is quite large and a healthy organization, as is the one down in Houston here in Texas. But I've spoken out at the one in Abilene, and you think Abilene, that's not a very big technology center, but they'll have 40 or 45 members at their lunches. And next month I'm speaking again at the one in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Again, not that very big of a city, but they do have great turnouts.
Well, that's a really good point, John. It's interesting where we do and don't have active chapters. For instance, San Jose, one of the meccas of technology on the West Coast, we have a very small inactive chapter, and we've been trying to jumpstart that and put some effort into getting that going. The Seattle chapter, the Puget Sound chapter, is a relatively small chapter. It's very active, but yet it's relatively small. Then you've got, Anchorage, certainly a technology center of the world. And we've had a real strong chapter up here for a number of years. Honolulu is another interesting place where we've got 80-something members.
That's great.
Again, it's kind of hard. I think it's more reflective on the leadership of the local area, where it might have more of an impact on how big or how successful the chapter is as opposed to the geographical location.
That's good. So I know AITP has student chapters or chapters in colleges. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we have over 300. No, let me check that back. Yeah, I think I'm going to check my number here, John, but I think it's somewhere in the 100 to 300 area range where student chapters. I had that number on top of my head here too, and I'm sorry that I've screwed that one up. Most student chapters are associated with professional chapters, and we use that as a area for people to get involved with technology while they're still in college. And what our big function is the National Collegiate Conference, also being held in Orlando this year. We've got competitors from all across the U.S. who take place in competitions from database programming to web development to network design, you name it. And the output from this conference is amazing. The excitement from the students, the involvement from the professional members, the judging, it's just a really exciting time. I'm really looking forward. This will be my fourth National Collegiate Conference to be involved with. I've gone to Atlanta, Dallas, and Detroit prior to this one.
Yeah, I've been the last couple of years myself. I'm going to miss it this year. It's really exciting to see these college students compete for money, and it's actually not only just the competition and the learning that's part of that competition process, but I know, for example, in the programming competition, there's a consulting firm that has a kind of a standing order that if you win that competition, they'll offer you a job after college. So that's
pretty exciting stuff.
That is neat, and kids really need to get them excited about technology and transition from the world of being in a collegiate environment to the real professional world. And this sounds like a great bridge that you guys are helping make.
Not only do we have college chapters, collegiate chapters, but we've also started in the last couple of years with some high school chapters. So again, we're trying to get the technology, get the organization involved early on with the students, and get people excited about this as an industry. If you recall back in about 2001 or so, there was a huge drop in people signing up for IT majors in colleges after the dot-com bomb, and we're suffering from that now. Even in a down economy, I know several firms that are always looking to hire talented people, and there seems to be a lack of people currently with the skill set that people need to be successful in this industry. So again, getting them excited now is important to us.
Yep, that's great. Getting them early. So where do you see the future? Where do you see AITP, say, 5 or 10 years out from now? It's
a good question. One of the things we're working on, we work on besides the leadership having a 3-year cycle for executive vice president, president, immediate past president, we also look at a 3-year window of our goals for the organization. And our focus for 2011 is on membership growth, and we're taking a very strong stance on that and taking a look at any initiative and saying what's that going to do to increase our membership numbers? If it's not going to do anything to increase our membership numbers, why are we doing it? I see AITP going strong. I see a more youthful reign of leadership coming down the pipe. One of the things I'm looking forward to is getting our organization to be a little more diverse in our makeup. We have a significant number of female leaders in our organization at a national level, but we lack a little bit in some of our ethnic breakdown of our leadership. So one of the things I'm personally going to be involved with is looking for leaders who might be from a different background than the old white guys that we tend to be right now.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, in the Dallas chapter, we helped out University of Texas at Arlington, one of our student chapters, quite frequently helping their student chapter, and their president graduated and got a job, and he did get that job by his link in the professional chapter, and now here 2 years after college, he is running or is the president of our local professional chapter. So he's young, new into the field, and yet he's already up in the leadership of running our local chapter, which is, I think, a great sign to get a lot of new fresh blood. He's really savvy in all this social networking of LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook and that kind of stuff, and help the local chapter get connected to the people that are his generation in this field.
That's exciting. And it's extremely important to take advantage of these quasi non-traditional methods of communicating with people. We do kind of get stuck in the newsletter and emails and stuff, but the social media out there is extremely important for getting our message out there as well.
That's great. Well, let's get a little bit here. Obviously, I like to always do a little bit of technical in these interviews. What would you say is your favorite Microsoft product and why?
Wow. The one I use the most often, of course, is Outlook. And, just recently went to the Office Suite 2010 and pretty excited about that. The transition from 7 to 10 was a little bit easier than the transition from 3 to 7. My favorite, I'm going to probably go with SharePoint Portal because it's very important to me to be able to have version control and know where my documents are within the organization, not only for AITP but for work as well.
That's great. So what Microsoft product do you wish you knew more about? I mean, obviously, I know there are a lot of them out there.
I think I'm going to stick with SharePoint Portal on that one, too.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a huge product, isn't it?
It is. And I think, that what I use is probably 5 to 10% of its capabilities. And I'm excited to learn more about it and to utilize it to its full potential.
Well, Jim, I've got one last question for you. Say I love the outdoors and being cold and the snow and everything, and if I wanted to move up there to Alaska and Anchorage, what kind of IT jobs are there in the field there?
Well, John, I can tell you, I grew up in Southern California, moved to Alaska 31 years ago, and I don't like cold, and I'm not a huge, winter person at all. But there's a lot of technology up here. Oil and gas is, of course, big up here. Any natural resources are big. Tourism is probably our #1 industry right now. A lot of technology things involved with tourism. The company I work for is a outsourcing firm, if you would. So, there's a lot of work to be done up here. The wages are good up here. We don't have any state taxes. We don't have a state income tax. And we get our permanent fund dividend every year, kind of free money just for living here. I don't want all you guys moving up here, but we got room for 1 or 2 more people up here.
Well, that sounds great. I sure appreciate you joining us today on TechNet Radio, and I always get asked about contact information for people that are part of my show. My email is jweston, W-E-S-T-O-N, at Microsoft.com. I maintain a couple of different blogs, but my primary one is out there at blogs.technet.com/jweston. Jim, would you care to share your contact information or how people can find out more about AITP?
Sure. Our website is www.aitp.org. I can be reached at president@aitp.org. And we look forward to any comments or questions. Feel free to drop me an email. I'll see how I can help you out.
Great. Well, thanks again for joining us today, Jim, and you have a great day.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.